My daughter-in-law cornered me in the hallway one morning, not yelling, not screaming, not throwing insults like she was angry. She just stood there, blocking the way like she'd been waiting for the right moment to finally say something she'd been holding in. I was holding a basket of clean towels, still warm from the dryer, that clean, comforting smell that makes you feel like things are under control, at least for a second. I remember thinking about where to put them, bathroom or linen closet. Then she wrinkled her nose, just a little, like something invisible in the air bothered her, and she said, "Linda, you're making my house smell like a hospital, every single day." I blinked, not because I didn't hear her, but because my brain needed a second to catch up with what my heart already felt. A hospital? That word just hung there between us. I laughed. Not a real laugh. That nervous, automatic laugh your body does when it thinks this has to be a joke. Because who says that? Who looks at someone's mother standing there quietly doing laundry and says something like that? I said it back to her softly. A hospital? Like maybe if she heard it out loud again, she'd realize how wrong it sounded. She didn't. She crossed her arms and shifted her weight, like now she was annoyed that I didn't immediately apologize. "Yeah," she said. "Disinfectant, chemicals. It's just uncomfortable." Uncomfortable. That's when the laugh died in my throat, because her face didn't soften. She didn't smile. She didn't say, "I didn't mean it like that." She meant it exactly like that. And suddenly I felt stupid, standing there holding clean towels in a clean house, being told I was making it uncomfortable just by existing. That hallway felt smaller all of a sudden, like the walls leaned in, like the air got heavier. And in that moment, I realized something painful. This wasn't really about the smell. It never is. It was about space, about control, about reminding me whose house this really was. I wanted to explain myself, defend myself, say something smart. But nothing came out, because deep down, I already knew why the house smelled like that. I just never thought I'd have to answer for it. People assume I moved into my son's house because I had nowhere else to go. That's not true. I had my own place, my own routines, my own quiet. Marcus asked me to come. He showed up at my door one evening, rubbing the back of his neck like he used to do when he was a kid and about to ask for something big. "Mom, maybe you could stay with us for a bit." For a bit. Those 3 words have ruined more family relationships than arguments ever have. He said money was tight, things were stressful, just temporary. Ashley stood behind him while he talked. She smiled, polite, controlled, the kind of smile that says, "I'm being nice because I have to." She hugged me, but it felt rushed, like checking something off a list. I told myself not to overthink it. I packed light. Just clothes, no decorations, no memories. Because when someone tells you it's temporary, you don't unpack your life. I told myself I was helping, being useful, being a good mother. What I didn't realize was that once you step into your child's house, something shifts. You stop being the parent, and you don't quite become a guest either. You become something in between. Someone who has to earn their presence every single day. From the first week, I felt it. The way I walked quieter. The way I asked before touching anything. The way I apologized for things that didn't need apologies. I wasn't told the rules. I felt them. Don't rearrange. Don't comment. Don't offer advice unless asked. And definitely don't take up too much space. I stayed mostly in my room. Cleaned behind myself. Cleaned ahead of myself, trying to make sure no one could ever say I was a burden. Funny thing is, the harder you try not to be a problem, the more people start treating you like one. I kept telling myself it was temporary, but temporary has a way of stretching itself until it feels permanent. And deep down, I think we all knew it. Nobody sat me down and explained the rules. That's the funny part. When you move into someone else's house, especially your kid's house, nobody hands you a list. You're just expected to feel it. And I felt it almost immediately. I noticed it in the way I started walking quieter, The floors didn't creak any louder than before, but suddenly I was aware of every step I took, like the house was listening. I noticed it in the way I timed my showers. Too long felt rude, too short felt like I was rushing out of the way. I noticed it in the way I hesitated before opening the fridge, before turning on a light, before sitting down in the living room. Everything came with a pause now, like I needed permission that was never actually spoken. At night, I stayed in my room, not because anyone told me to, because it felt safer. In my room, I didn't have to worry about being in the way, didn't have to worry about my presence being noticed. I kept my door closed most of the time, not slammed, not locked, just closed enough to say, I'm not out here causing problems. I cleaned behind myself constantly. If I used the bathroom, I checked the sink like a hotel inspector. I cleaned ahead of myself too. Like if everything stayed spotless, nobody could accuse me of being messy, lazy, or ungrateful. That's what you start doing when you don't feel secure. You overcorrect. Ashley never directly complained during those early weeks, but I could feel her watching, the glances, the sighs, the little looks she gave Marcus when she thought I wasn't paying attention. And Marcus? Marcus stayed neutral. That's what he calls it. Neutral. I call it disappearing. He didn't defend me. He didn't criticize me either. He just let things sit there, thick and uncomfortable like humidity before a storm. I told myself I was being dramatic, that I was just adjusting. But here's the truth nobody likes to say out loud. When you don't feel welcome, your body knows before your mind does. My shoulders stayed tight all the time. I slept lighter, woke up earlier. I started planning my movements around their schedules. I waited until they left for work to clean certain things, waited until the house was empty to breathe a little easier. And the wild part? No one asked me to do any of this. I did it because I wanted to earn my right to be there. That's what happens when love starts feeling conditional. You shrink, you fold yourself smaller, you convince yourself that if you just behave perfectly, everything will be fine. But perfection doesn't make people kinder. It just makes you easier to ignore. And slowly, without anyone saying a word, I stopped feeling like a mother in that house. I felt like a guest who had overstayed without realizing it. Ashley started calling it the cleaning thing. Not to my face at first. I'd hear it drift down the hallway when she thought I was in my room. Your mum's doing that cleaning thing again. Like it was a habit, like nail biting, like something mildly annoying but tolerable. At first, I didn't think much of it. I've always cleaned when I'm nervous, when my hands need something to do, when my thoughts get too loud. Some people pace, some people snack. I clean, wipe, scrub, organize. There's comfort in it. You take something messy, something out of control, and for a few minutes, you fix it. I didn't deep clean the whole house. I stuck to what I used. Bathroom sink, kitchen counters, doorknobs. I liked things clean. That's it. Or at least that's what I told myself. But Ashley noticed. She noticed the smell first, the lemon disinfectant, the faint sharpness in the air. She started opening windows, even in winter. I'd hear them slam shut and open again, like the house itself was sighing. One afternoon, she watched me wipe down the kitchen counter. I'd already cleaned it once. I knew that. But there was a tiny sticky spot from where Marcus had spilled soda, and something in me just couldn't leave it. She leaned against the counter, arms crossed. "You don't have to do that," she said. Her tone wasn't kind, but it wasn't angry either. It was irritated, like I was chewing too loud. "I know," I said quickly. I don't mind." She nodded, but her jaw tightened. That's when I felt it, that shift, where someone stops seeing your behavior as helpful and starts seeing it as a problem. A few days later, Marcus said something, casual, offhand. "Mum, Ash says the house smells kinda strong lately." Strong. That word again. I apologized immediately. Too quickly. I said I'd use less. Different products. Whatever they wanted. And I meant it. But the truth, I didn't know how to stop. Because cleaning wasn't about dirt. It was about control, about calming my nerves, about making sure nothing bad could happen if everything stayed clean. I started doing it early in the morning, before anyone woke up. I diluted the cleaner with water, barely enough to smell. But Ashley still noticed. She always noticed. And every time she did, her patience thinned just a little more. What she didn't know, what she couldn't possibly know, was that the smell she hated, that hospital smell. It wasn't new to me, it was familiar, too familiar. It smelled like long nights, like beeping machines, like fear you don't say out loud. And without realizing it, I was bringing my past into her house, one wipe at a time. Marcus has always hated conflict, even as a kid. If two people were arguing in the same room, he'd suddenly remember homework he didn't have, or a friend he needed to call, anything to disappear. So when the tension between Ashley and me started getting thicker, I shouldn't have been surprised by how he handled it. He didn't pick sides, he avoided them. One night after dinner, he followed me into the kitchen while Ashley went upstairs. He leaned against the counter, scrolling his phone like this was casual, like he wasn't about to say something that would sit in my chest for days. "Mom," he said, not looking up, "Ash just feels like you're kind of stressed all the time." Stressed. I waited, because when someone starts a sentence like that, you know there's more coming. "She thinks the cleaning makes the house feel tense," he added. Like, not relaxed. Not relaxed. I stared at the sink, at a water spot I'd already wiped twice. "I'm sorry," I said. Again. That word was becoming muscle memory. Marcus finally looked up. No, I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong," he rushed. "It's just, vibes." Vibes. That's what my discomfort had turned into, a vibe problem. I wanted to scream. I wanted to say, "I raised you. I scraped knees and packed lunches and stayed up nights waiting for you to come home." Instead, I nodded, because that's what keeps the peace. "I'll try to chill," I said. Chill, like anxiety has an off switch. He smiled, relieved. Because now he didn't have to do anything else. That's the thing about people who stay neutral. They get comfortable while everyone else gets hurt. After that conversation, something shifted inside me. Not loudly, quietly. I started editing myself even more. I skipped cleaning some days just to prove a point no one was watching. I sat on my hands when I felt the urge to wipe something down, but the anxiety didn't disappear. It just moved inward. My chest felt tight. My thoughts got louder. At night, I lay in bed replaying every interaction, every look Ashley gave me, every time Marcus chose peace over truth. I realized something that scared me. I wasn't just a guest anymore. I was a problem they were managing. And once someone sees you that way, it's almost impossible to go back. The worst part? Marcus knew. I could see it in his eyes sometimes. That flash of guilt. That look that said, "I know this isn't fair. But I don't know how to fix it." And instead of fixing it, he stayed quiet. Because silence is easier than choosing. And that silence, it was louder than any argument. The day Ashley finally said it out loud, other people were around. That's what made it worse. We were all in the living room. Marcus, Ashley, me. A quiet afternoon, TV on low, nothing dramatic. I had just finished wiping the coffee table. Once, not twice, just once. Ashley walked in, stopped mid-step and sniffed the air like something spoiled. She didn't look at me at first. She looked at Marcus. And then she laughed. Not a funny laugh, the kind that's sharp around the edges. "Why does it smell like a hospital in here again?" There it was. That word. Hospital. Marcus froze. I felt it hit me in the chest like a sudden drop. My hands went numb, my ears rang. And for a split second, I wasn't in that living room anymore. I was somewhere else, somewhere colder, somewhere brighter. Ashley kept talking. Like disinfectant and chemicals and all that, she said. It's honestly depressing. Depressing. I opened my mouth to speak. Nothing came out. Because how do you explain a trigger without sounding crazy? How do you say, that smell kept my son alive once, without ruining the room? Marcus cleared his throat. Babe, maybe. She cut him off. I'm not trying to be mean, she said. I'm just saying, it's my house too. Too. That word did it. Because suddenly, I understood something very clearly. This wasn't about smell. This wasn't about cleaning. This was about ownership, about reminding me I didn't belong. I nodded. Not because I agreed, because I didn't trust my voice. I stood up slowly. My legs felt weak. I'll stop, I said. Quiet. Controlled. Ashley shrugged. Thank you, she said, like I'd just corrected bad behavior. I went back to my room and closed the door. And for the first time since moving in, I cried. Not loud, not dramatic, just silent tears into a pillow I didn't own. Because the smell she hated, that smell was fear. It was survival. It was memory. And she just used it as an insult. I didn't sleep that night. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, replaying Ashley's voice in my head. Why does it smell like a hospital? Funny thing is, hospitals don't smell like fear to most people. They smell like healing, or boredom, or inconvenience. But to me, that smell meant survival. Marcus was 8 years old the first time I learned what real fear felt like. He'd come home from school pale and quiet, holding his stomach like it hurt but not wanting to say it out loud. I told him it was probably nothing. Kids get sick. That's what I told myself. By midnight, he was burning up. By 2 a.m., he couldn't stand. By the time we hit the ER, his skin felt clammy and wrong. The kind of wrong your body recognizes before your brain does. The hospital lights were too bright. Everything echoed. Machines beeped in strange rhythms, like they were speaking a language I didn't understand yet. They took him from my arms so fast I barely had time to kiss his forehead. I remember scrubbing my hands at the sink outside his room, over and over, because someone had handed me sanitizer and said, "Please clean your hands before going back in." I didn't stop when they said I could. I scrubbed until my skin burned. Because if clean hands meant my son stayed alive, I was going to be the cleanest person in that building. Hours passed, then more hours. Doctors came and went. Words like infection and complications floated past me without landing. I remember the smell, sharp, sterile, unforgiving. It soaked into my clothes, my hair, my memory. When they finally told me he'd be okay, my legs gave out. I slid down the wall and cried right there on the floor. Not pretty crying, the kind where your whole body shakes because it's releasing something it's been holding too tight. After that night, I cleaned differently. Not obsessively, protectively. Cleaning became a language my nervous system understood. Danger out, safety in. Years passed. Marcus grew up. Life moved on. But that smell, it never left me. And now I was being shamed for it. For the thing that once kept my child breathing. Ashley didn't know any of this, but Marcus did. Or at least, he knew parts. And that's what hurt the most, because he let her say it anyway. Marcus knew. That's the part nobody wants to talk about. He didn't know every detail. He didn't know the hours, or the fear that crawled into my bones that night. But he knew enough. He knew about the hospital. He knew about the infection. He knew about the doctors telling me to scrub my hands every time I touched him. He knew why I cleaned. Because I told him. Not all at once. Not in some dramatic speech. In pieces. Over the years. Little moments that added up. Like the time he laughed and said, "Mom, you still clean like I'm made of glass." And I laughed back. But I didn't correct him. Because part of me still believed it. That afternoon, after Ashley said it, after the word hospital sucked all the air out of the room, Marcus knocked on my door. Soft. Careful. Like he was approaching a wild animal instead of his own mother. I didn't answer right away. Not because I was asleep, because I was deciding whether I had the energy to pretend everything was fine. When I finally said, "Yeah," he opened the door just enough to peek inside. He didn't come in. That hurt more than if he had. "Mom." "She didn't mean it like that," he said. There it was. The sentence that protects everyone except the person who got hurt. I looked at him, really looked at him. The man I raised, the boy I once held under hospital lights. "She said what she said," I replied. My voice was calm, too calm. He shifted his weight, ran a hand through his hair. "I know," he said, "it's just, she doesn't know the whole story." I almost laughed, but it came out tired. "You do," I said. That stopped him. For a second, I thought, maybe now. Maybe this is where he steps up. Maybe this is where he says something real. Instead, he sighed. "I'm just trying to keep the peace." Peace. That word again. Always peace. Never justice. Never truth. Never me. I nodded. Because arguing with silence is exhausting. He stood there another moment, then said, "Dinner's almost ready," and walked away. That was it. No apology. No defense. No, I should have said something. Just an invitation to eat, like nothing had cracked open. That night, I realized something painful. Marcus wasn't choosing Ashley over me. He was choosing comfort over courage. And once I understood that, something inside me started letting go. I didn't announce anything. That's the thing people don't expect. They think leaving comes with a speech, with tears, with a final argument. Mine didn't. Mine came quietly. The next morning I woke up before everyone else. The house was still. That fake calm before people start moving around and pretending everything's normal. I sat on the edge of the bed for a long time, not thinking, just listening. The hum of the fridge down the hall, the soft tick of the clock. I reached for my sweater, the light blue cardigan I always wore when I wanted to feel steady, and pulled it around me like armor. Then I stood up, and I started packing. Slowly, fold by fold. Not because I was in a rush, because I needed to do it right. I packed the things I brought with me. Only those. Clothes, toiletries, my book. Nothing from the house. Not even the mug Ashley had once handed me and said, "You can use this one." I left it in the cabinet, where it belonged. Every sound felt louder than it should have. The zipper, the drawer closing, like the house was paying attention now. At one point, Ashley walked past my door. I heard her footsteps pause. She didn't knock. She didn't ask. She just kept going. And somehow, that told me everything I needed to know. I wasn't being begged to stay. I wasn't being questioned. I was being tolerated. I changed clothes before I finished packing, put on my dark grey coat, the one I used to wear when Marcus was little and winters felt harder. It still smelled like my old house. That made my chest tighten. I zipped the suitcase and stood there, hand on the handle. That's when it hit me. Not sadness, relief. Because the hardest part wasn't leaving. The hardest part had been staying where I had to constantly prove I deserved space. I stepped into the hallway. Marcus's door was closed. Ashley's too. I paused, just for a second, not hoping, not waiting, just acknowledging. Then I walked out. No goodbye, no confrontation, just the soft click of the door behind me. And in that moment, I chose myself, for the first time in a long time. They noticed I was gone before they said my name. That's how it always happens. Ashley was the first one to feel it, not emotionally, practically. The house smelled different that morning. Neutral, no lemon, no disinfectant, no sharp edge in the air, just normal. She opened windows out of habit, then stopped, paused, because there was nothing to air out. The counters were clean, but not freshly wiped. The sink was empty, but not shining. Nothing was wrong, and somehow, that bothered her. Marcus came downstairs a few minutes later, already late for work, tying his shoes. "Did Mom already eat?" he asked. Ashley shrugged. I didn't see her. That's when he checked the guest room. The bed was made, too neat. No suitcase, no cardigan folded on the chair. That tight feeling crept into his chest, the one he ignored too often. She probably went for a walk, Ashley said. But Marcus knew better, because I don't take walks without my phone. And my phone charger was gone. He stood there longer than he needed to, like if he stared hard enough, I might reappear. Ashley leaned against the doorframe. "You think she left?" she asked. Her voice wasn't worried, it was curious. Marcus nodded slowly. She didn't say anything. Ashley exhaled, not relief, not guilt, something in between. Well, I guess she needed space. Space. That word again. The same one I never had. Marcus didn't answer. He drove to work in silence, hands gripping the wheel tighter than usual. Every red light felt longer, every memory louder. The way I used to wait up for him, the way I cleaned his room when he was sick, the way I never left without telling him where I was going. And now, I was gone, and I hadn't said a word. That scared him. Because silence doesn't argue, it decides. Ashley spent the day cleaning, ironically. She wiped counters, lit a candle, something vanilla, warm, comfortable. By evening, the house felt like hers again. And for the first time since I moved in, Marcus felt like something was missing. Not noise, not smell, presence. That night, he stood in the hallway, outside the guest room. Door closed, light off, and that's when it hit him. I didn't leave to punish them. I left because I finally understood my place. And it wasn't there. My phone started ringing just as I finished unpacking. Not everything, just enough. I was staying at a small motel off the highway. Nothing fancy. Brown carpet, flickering lamp, the kind of place you stay when you don't want questions. I was wearing my soft beige sweater and dark slacks, sitting on the edge of the bed, folding my cardigan like it mattered. The phone buzzed on the nightstand. Marcus. I stared at the screen. Didn't move, didn't breathe. Just watched it ring until it stopped. A minute later it rang again, then again. I picked it up on the fourth call. Not because I felt guilty, because I felt ready. "Mom," he said, voice rushed, tight. "Where are you?" Not "are you okay?" Not "I'm sorry." Just location. "I'm fine," I said, and for the first time in a long time, that was true. There was silence on the line. He hadn't prepared for that answer. "Ashley didn't know you were leaving," he said. I almost laughed. "She didn't ask," I replied. He swallowed. "I should have said something," he admitted. "I should have stopped her." Yes, he should have. But apologies after damage are just explanations. "I know," I said. That stunned him, because I wasn't angry. I wasn't crying. I wasn't asking him to choose. I had already chosen. "Are you coming back?" he asked quietly. That was the moment. The one where I could have made him beg, where I could have said maybe. I didn't. "No," I said, simple, clean, final. His breath hitched. "What about everything?" he asked. I thought about the smell, the cleaning, the hallway, the silence. "I took what was mine," I said. "The rest belongs to you." Ashley's voice floated in the background. What did she say? I didn't answer that part, because she didn't get access to my peace anymore. "Take care of yourself," I told him. And before he could respond, I hung up. I placed the phone face down, not shaking, not crying, just still. And that's when I realized something important. Silence isn't always weakness. Sometimes it's closure. I heard later that Ashley cleaned the house again. Really cleaned it. Candles lit, windows open, everything wiped down until it looked perfect. But perfection doesn't feel warm when it's empty. Marcus told me that part. Not right away. A few days later, he said she walked into the guest room and stood there longer than she meant to. The room looked the same, but it didn't feel the same. No folded sweater on the chair, no quiet presence, No soft footsteps in the morning, just space. And space has a way of echoing. He said Ashley finally asked, "Do you think she left because of me?" That question came too late. Not because it was wrong, but because it should have been asked sooner. I didn't answer him when he told me that, because I wasn't angry anymore. Anger needs energy. And I was finally at rest. I moved into a small apartment not long after. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. I wore my light grey sweater the first night, sat on the floor with my back against the wall, and let the quiet settle. No one sighing, no one watching, no one needing me to be smaller. I cleaned the kitchen once, just once, and when I finished, I stopped. I sat down. I breathed, because I didn't need to prove anything to anyone anymore. Here's what I learned, and I hope someone listening hears this. Sometimes people don't hate what you're doing. They hate what it reminds them of. Ashley hated the smell because it made her uncomfortable. I lived with it because it once saved my child. Both things can be true, but only one of us deserved compassion. I didn't leave to teach a lesson. I left to survive with my dignity intact. Marcus calls more now, his voice softer, more careful, not because he's scared I'll disappear again, but because he finally understands what silence costs. Ashley hasn't called, and that's okay. Not everyone gets access to your healing. If you're listening to this and you've ever been told you take up too much space, if you've ever been made to feel like your coping is an inconvenience, if someone ever made you feel small for the very thing that once kept you alive, hear me clearly. You are not the problem. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away quietly, with your head high and your hands finally at rest.